All right, Rakabako, you can lead it off.
Hey, Brandon. We just talked to Matt Harvey. Do you have any early impressions of what you've seen from him, how he looks so far?
I've only seen him play catch, so had a couple conversations with him and just watched him play catch, but I'm gonna go watch him throw a bullpen here after we're done. So I'm looking forward to that.
Rich Dubroff.
Hey, on Matt Harvey, Brandon, he used the word humbling to describe his last few years. You saw him when he was at his peak. Is it important that someone admits when they've had a bad few years that it has been a humbling experience, and do you think that he's more open to your new ideas there?
Well, I don't know him real well yet, so I don't want to speculate on how he's feeling. But I think it has been a rough. He hasn't had the results he's won in the last few years. I saw him in 15 in the championship series when he was throwing 120-degree weather, and we had no shot. It was incredibly dominating. And then I saw him when he was in Cincinnati in 18. I think it was 18. That second half, we were impressed. His fastball was back up. It was throwing back in the 95, 96, kind of topping out there with good stuff. He gave us fits. So that was a few years later. What's happened to him the last couple of years, I don't know. I don't know, and I'll dive into that with him once I get to know him. But I'm just looking forward to watching him. I know he's appreciative of the opportunity. Seems like a great guy, and I'm hoping for the best.
John Mioli, go ahead.
Brandon, to belabor on Matt Harvey a little bit, he mentioned that he had done some work at a facility and really gotten to know, how his pitches work in terms of data, video, all the types of stuff that you guys try to do there. And he said that was a draw to come to the Orioles because of what Chris Holt's background is and what he's done. What does that say to you as somebody who's a part of what's trying to be built here, that in a few short years the organization has become a place where pitchers seek out that kind of thing as opposed to go elsewhere for it?
Yeah, it's a huge plus. I think that our guys have a positive track record with pitching and with getting pitchers better. And you saw what Holtby did in our minor league system, how much our minor league system improved, even in that first year. Obviously the SIG bringing over his analytic expertise and a lot of the people that he's hired that dive into it. He gets great info, and we have great people working on our analytic team. So I think it's great to hear that players want to play here. I'm hoping that that continues, yeah, but that's I didn't know that, so that's great. Great to hear from Matt.
Steve Valesky, go ahead.
Brandon, with Ronaldo no longer on the team, any early thoughts on how the DH might be used this year?
I think we're going to wait to see. Yeah, we'll wait to see. I think we have, we have some outfielders that want to get at bats too, and might be a rotating DH. I just don't know yet. Let's wait to see how we break. Hopefully we're healthy and everybody's ready to go, and then we'll figure it out matchup wise and who needs a breather on a nightly basis.
Stan Charles, go ahead.
Brandon, from the time you came to Baltimore and saw Tanner Scott to today, how much more confident is he that he can throw strikes?
Yeah, a different look in his eye. Guy I saw when I first got here, obviously it was an amazing arm with really good stuff, and I think just last spring, them simplifying his delivery was a big part of making things easier for him, letting his arm repeat the same way every single time, giving him that confidence. And he took that right into he continued to work when we got shut down, and then he took that right into summer camp and into the season. So he has made huge strides since my first days of being here, and I think he's got huge upside.
Mark Viviano.
Hey, Brandon, it's interesting hearing some of the veteran guys start to talk about how they've learned to embrace the analytics. And you've got a whole generation of younger guys. That's all they've ever known. As a manager at an organization where it's really coming to the fore, have we reached a point in the game where it's adapt or die? You don't even have a choice anymore. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think that, I think veteran players in this game that now have, at least the ones I've been around, understand that it's a helpful tool, and so they've investigated and looked into it to see how it could help them. And I think that that's just, they understand that there's information out there that's going to help either their pitch design or analytics is kind of a broad term, right? So it's how guys can get more spin on their fastball, or how guys can maybe use their breaking ball differently. All those type of things that's under this analytics umbrella. I think that veteran players that are playing this game in today's Major League Baseball have come around to know that the information is useful, and now it's how to apply it into their game. And I think that you do get left behind if you're not monitoring it closely.
Follow-up question from Rich.
Hey, Brandon, are all the position players there? Have you seen everybody?
They are all here. Davis is here. He didn't take his physical today, so he might be a day late in the building because he's still part of the intake. The weather in Texas pushed his flight back, and so he might be 1 day behind.
And one last follow-up from Stan. Stan, go ahead.
Brandon, I know you're not a doctor and you didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night, but this thoracic outlet syndrome surgery that Matt Harvey had, have you worked with anybody that's come back from that? And can you imagine how difficult that must be to come back from?
I don't know if I've had somebody or not. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer. I don't know.
Okay.
I'll talk to Matt about it, but I just don't know much about the surgery.
And another follow-up from John Mioli. John, go ahead.
Brandon, anyone who's been there pitcher-wise, catcher-wise, have any physical issues crop up that's kept them from working out fully since they reported?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
I think that's all the questions we have for today. Thanks for joining us, Brandon, and thanks everyone else for joining in for your
Do you want
patience
me to
earlier.
expand on that, John? No,
Do you have any?
No, there isn't anybody. Everybody's been thrown.
Year 3, your quote game. Stepping it up.
I don't. I mean, it's a no. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. No. Well,
We're all good.
happy
Awesome.
for everybody.
All right.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
Brandon.
See you tomorrow.
pitching performance center. And between using the TrackMan and using those the cameras that they use now, I think it was obviously something that they do here quite frequently. And Chris Holt, he's studied that very well and knows a lot about it, and kind of how to. Seemed like they knew what I was doing wrong in the last couple of years, where it was a good fit to kind of get me back to throwing the way I did before. And the last couple of years, I've had trouble kind of getting back to that, and just really searching, I guess you could say. And after talking to my agent, it just seemed like a good fit and a good opportunity to get things going in spring training and have an opportunity to get back into the big leagues.
Next, we'll go to Melanie Newman.
Hey, Matt, when you look at just what the Orioles are comprised of right now, pitching between the really young guys and then adding you and Felix, and you guys just bring so much experience, what's that mix like for you, especially in terms of the chemistry?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I've only been here a couple of days and really don't know many of the guys. So I think feeling like it's almost a start over point, and getting to know the young guys and getting to know Felix and just be around them every day. It's awesome to see. It's watching the bullpens yesterday and seeing the arms that we have. It's pretty impressive. So I'm obviously happy to be here and be a part of that, and any way I can contribute and give help to the younger guys, and just be around, and I've told everybody that whatever they need, whatever they want to ask, I'm all theirs and up for whatever. And like I said, I'm just extremely happy to be here.
Rich Dubroff, BaltimoreBaseball.com. Go ahead.
Hey, Matt, does it matter to you if you start or relieve? Are you open to going to the bullpen if they ask?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously my beliefs and what I can do is as a starter. I've I trained for that this off season. I've kind of done that my whole life. Obviously I did a little bit in Kansas City last year coming out of the pen, and that took some getting used to, but I feel like the last outing before I had the little injury, it was kind of going in the right direction. So, whatever they need, it's completely up to them, and it's my job to get guys out and do whatever's called upon me.
John Mioli, Baltimore Sun.
Hey, Matt. You mentioned, you were searching the last couple of years and the work you did in South Jersey really kind of opened your eyes to some things. How would you describe your own personal evolution and coming to understand that stuff and learning how your pitches best work versus what was happening before in your career?
I think you get used to not really having to pay attention to that stuff. I think the first couple of years I threw so well that it just came easy, came natural. And after having some struggles over the last couple of years, it kind of changed my mind to, I guess, opening up more on what I could do to change things or get back to where they were. I mean, I kept going out there and feeling like there was just a small thing missing in my mechanics. And when you go out there feeling that way, it's you're kind of in an uphill battle to begin with. So, which is kind of how I felt the last couple of years, more fighting myself than fighting anything. And I think, that me committing to go see those guys in South Jersey and I guess kind of start over and really open my ears to any option or opinion on what I could do, was a big help. And I told the guys here, I said, whatever you think mechanically could help me, whatever you believe needs to be done in order to get me back, because I know it's in there. I know, like I said, the last couple of years, it's been frustrating because I know it's there. It's just I haven't had that click moment where, I feel like, all right, there it was. That's the old me. That's who I think I can be, and hopefully we can find that as soon as we possibly can here. And I think, when I did that work in Jersey, I think it was definitely heading in the right direction.
Steve Molesky, go ahead.
Matt, there were probably times earlier in your career when spring training was maybe mostly about just building up and getting ready for the season. When you're in a situation where you're trying to make a team, does it change that approach? Are results more needed? How do you see it?
No, I still remember it wasn't that long ago when, I was with the Mets and trying to make the team with Terry Collins. So I remember those days and although they were it was 11 years ago. I think it's a good thing. I think it's fun to be in that position. I think it gets a little fire going, and it's kind of obviously it's a tough situation to be in your 11th spring training and however many years I have in the big leagues to feel like you need to impress people again. But that's where we're at, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the challenge, and like I said, it's going to create a little fire, so it'll be good.
Joe Trezza, MLB.com.
Hey, Matt, at this point in your career, what are some lessons that you think you've learned compared to when you were a younger player, whether it's on or off the field?
Well, I think, when you're younger and you haven't had any injuries or like I said, things come easy. For me anyways, I didn't really pay attention to, mechanics all that much. I didn't have to. It was, something that it just, like I said, came naturally. And now as I'm getting older and becoming more, I guess, understanding of my body and the pitching mechanics and what needs to go in order to, maintain, flexibility, strength, all that. I mean, I've definitely learned a lot, and over the years of kind of bouncing around from team to team, it's been an interesting ride, but I think the whole thing is not giving up and pushing forward, and definitely, like I said, keeping my ears open to options and opinions of other people, pitching coaches, of trainers, of different staff. I'm not saying I didn't do that before, I think, but now it's definitely more something that I pay attention to and really keep my ears open to anything that's going to help me get better and help a team win.
And it's just a quick follow-up to that. You mentioned earlier about the Orioles being very technology driven, and you mentioned Chris Holt specifically. Was there something, did they have ideas that they came to you with, during this process, or is there something specific that you're coming into camp looking to and excited to work on?
No, I think it was, I didn't really talk to anybody a whole lot before coming in here, but other than my agent and talking to him about, what they were about and what I might expect when I got here. And like I said, after going and realizing what I was doing numbers wise, the last couple of years, obviously it's been there with other teams that I've played with. I just don't think I'd say I didn't really open up to the fact that, my numbers kind of sucked. So it was, I think a humbling experience to go up to the facility in New Jersey and kind of get numbers from, whether it was high school kids that are working out there that are throwing better numbers, maybe not as hard, but better numbers up than I am, and realize that, all right, I need to take a step back and, figure out how to improve things. Obviously I've been through a lot. I've pitched in a lot of different games, situations, playoff games, had some success, World Series. And, I think once I get those mechanics back and numbers back, I think the experience that I do have is going to kind of get me back to being a successful pitcher that I know I can be.
All right, that's all the questions we have. Thanks so much for joining us, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
Go ahead.
Tanner, Brandon's talked about the importance of having relievers that can go multiple innings now with, the season going from 60 to 162 games and trying to take the burden off of a lot of the pitchers. Is that something that you feel like, especially with your background starting, that you should be able to do for them?
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely open for everything. I mean, I want to put our team in the best spot we can. And whatever he calls me upon, that's what I'm going to do.
Melanie Newman, go ahead.
Tanner, two for you here. Just one, seeing some new veterans join the camp and knowing that, just kind of similar to what he just said, they're looking for extra innings, either as starters or relievers. What are you looking to draw off of these vets? And the second side of that, you bit into the COVID bug and got a puppy. So how is balancing that life now that you're back in baseball?
I'm going to go with the puppy one first. I mean, the puppy's awesome. It's definitely a handful, but I mean, I love every minute of it. I wouldn't change it. So that's fun. And then with the new veterans, it's just picking information on everything. I mean, some people have been in the game a long time and you're like, hey, what do you do here? What do you do in these situations? How do you attack? So it's just really good to be a sponge right now.
Rich Dubroff, go ahead.
Hey, Tanner, with the success that you had last year, would it be fun? Would it be different if you ended up being pretty much the everyday closer?
Would it be different? No, I'd go day by day, the same way I have. I mean, wait until the phone rings, and if they call my name in any situation, I mean, I'm ready to go whenever.
John Mioli, go ahead.
How's it going, Tanner? You've been somebody who's never, gotten too high or too low, regardless of what's happened. You kind of just like to do your work. But did it feel different leaving a season where you carried sustained success and developed so much versus some of the past off seasons where you were still kind of maybe searching?
Did it feel different? No. I mean, I get to the field every day and I try to do the same routine. I stick to everything. I mean, it's what got me here. It's what's getting me here today. And I mean, I'm not going to change anything. I mean, did it feel different? No, I mean, day by day, I mean, I accept any challenge and I'm ready to go.
Steve Molesky, go ahead.
Sorry if this was asked earlier, hopefully not. Tanner, your improvement last year, how much did data and analytics play into that, and in what ways?
I mean, you get to see what your ball does, and I mean, you get to see how your stuff plays against certain hitters. I mean, it's definitely a part of the game now, so you have to pick it up and learn the information since it's there. You gotta soak it in.
Awesome. Any last questions for anyone? All right. Looks like that's all the questions we have. Thanks so much, Tanner.
Thank you. We're good?
Yep. Okay.